local
lord of a small, small.
Would the Normans, when this all went back to London, they'd go, he looks like a bit of an old Saxon to me.
They could.
Should we move a decent class of
the
Norman?
name, of course.
Yeah.
It would be a Saxon name, yes.
Was there a policy of replacing these guys with Normans?
Well, in general, yes. The Saxons were suppressed by the Normans. I would doubt whether they would bother with somebody who was operating on a relatively small scale like this. They would hope to just cow him into submission or bribe him and generally get him on their side. But people certainly above that level would have been replaced by Norman.
Yeah, because I mean we had Roger de Montgomery in Shrewsbury, who built Shrewsbury Castle. I think that would have been enough to impress local Edric, wouldn't it?
Yes, that was the point of castle building, really, to sort of intimidate the locals and make people like Edric realise that they got to know where their bread was buttered.
I see, righto. Okay, so we've got poor old Edric, a Saxon landowner, a free man cowering away in the shadow of Shrewsbury Castle. 2 hides which pay tax. A hide's an area of land, isn't it, Hill?
I imagine it is.
Well, yes, it is. Yes, Vivian's nodding madly here. Yeah. In Lordship, half a plough. What does that mean? Anybody, any ideas on that?
No, I was puzzling as to what that meant. Presumably it means to do with the area that was ploughable. But it says that one more plough would be possible there, which may suggest that there might be land that could be arable, but that is covered in trees at the moment. Okay,
so the Lordship actually had half a plough. I think that's an area of land or whatever. And 5 slaves. Is that a literal translation, do we know? Because, I mean, I didn't think we had slavery even in Norman times. I mean, we had pretty rotten working conditions, but not slaves.
Well, certainly serfs. I mean, it's a matter of terminology, really. These would be people who would have lived there for generations. They wouldn't be slaves, and they couldn't probably be moved about the countryside. They would be rather like sheep that are sort of stuck in one area. Generations would have lived in that area, but they would be bonded to the lord. Their labour would be given free, and they would be given a very small livelihood in return. Serfs could become free men by doing various things, sort of
working hard and getting in with the boss, presumably.
Exactly,
well, in with the boss. We too can become free men if we work hard and keep in with the boss. Okay, so we've got a very small Hanwood here. Eric's in charge, an area of land. He had half a plough and 5 presumably servants, bonded servants. 3 villagers, 2 smallholders, a bit more land, and that was it. So a very small agricultural community, according to the Doomsday Book, Hilda. Then what happened?
Well, then later on we had the grey waters coming to the area from 1308, in fact, when he was then a tenant farmer.
Yes.
And to this day, the de Greywater family hold the patronage of the living, which means that they appoint the rectors of Hanwood. Sadly, Henry de Greywater, our last patron, died a few weeks ago, but his son, John, who came and launched the book for us in August 1991, will now be our patron. So that has continued down the centuries.
So we've got a squirearchical family that's lasted for 900 years. That's quite amazing, isn't it, by direct line?
Yes.
So
700, is it?
700, is it? Oh, well, I don't know. Maths never was my strong point. It's not as long as that. Anyway, it's quite some time. Oh, 39 years, about 600 years.
Yeah.
The de Grey Waters family have had a hand in the running of Hanwood. A small agricultural village then, a pretty Shropshire village now, becoming a dormitory with the new housing.
Yeah.
What happened in between? That's the picture we're looking to paint, isn't it?
That's right, yes. Well, it was very much, I suppose, what you would call an industrial area. It became with the Cobden mill, which was the flour mill, and then there was the flax mill at the other end of the village here, the brickwork, the coal mine, very much an industrial area. Yes, all that is sadly has gone.
It's on the fringe of the South Shropshire mining area.
Yes,
yes. Fine. And when did the mining start? It's a wonderful book. Are you impressed with this book, Vivian?
I have personally purchased a copy, Michael.
Yourself, with your own money? Good heavens.
So I recommend it.
Great appraise There isn't.
Money, yeah.
With her own money, Hilda. That's impressive, isn't it?
That's right, yes. She's just bought a copy of the
That's the
book.
very last money I've got, as payday is tomorrow.
Support your local museum curator, destitute and a whole big museum to support her until tomorrow. There we are, right. Now we're getting into the book, okay. That's a nice photograph. Now we've got the originals of these photographs are over here.
Yes, they're around the room here.
Are they? Okay. Now then, who have we got in the room who can remember the colliery?
Who would be the best one? Jack Evans,
right. Well, let's go and get Jack Evans. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Hilda. Take me over and introduce me to Jack Evans and tell me where he is. Which one's Jack?
Jack Evans.
This is Jack. Good morning, Jack.
How are you?
Now, you can take your memory back as far as the coal mines?
Yes.
Tell us about them.
Well, there's some more coal miners here other than me. I didn't work down the coal mines.
No.
But I remember them all in working all day. The Hanwood pits, then there was one at Crockview,
Yeah.
and there was one at Moat Hall. That's up towards Anscroft, over the bank towards Anscroft. That's 3 working mines as I've remembered. But then the one at Crockmeal, this was the main pit where they used to dig the coal, and then they used to transport it up to Crockmeal. That's where it was screened and loaded on railway wagons. And that's where, and up at up on the pit mound at Crockmeal now is the big powerhouse that used to generate all the power for the pits. And that's been converted into houses now up on the bridge. Yes.
It's incredible when you come through Hanwood to think that it was a mining town. It doesn't look like a mining town now, does it?
Well, you've got the waste piece just by the railway bridge up here now. The pit mound, that's still there. That will remind you that it was a mine in there. That's where the mine was. Yeah, opposite the school almost.
Okay, so
The pit mound is looking rather picturesque. I was shown it when I arrived, and it's covered in trees, and it looks very attractive.
great. Okay, so we've got a medieval agricultural village. We've got a mining town. Yes,
Somebody who actually worked down the
Yeah.
there. Some of his
Okay.
brothers did, yes.
Okay, so who's this gentleman who worked down the bridge? Come and introduce me, Hilda.
Yes, this is Vic Cooper.
Vic Cooper. Good morning, Vic.
Good morning.
A miner.
Well, it was my first job when I left school.
How old were you when you left school?
14.
And you went to Hanwood School?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And 14 years old, out of school you come?
Down the pit.
Down the pit.
It was the only work there was around here then. It was down the pit.
How many people worked in the mine? Can I ask you a rough date while we're just
My what?
a rough date for when you left school?
I worked down the pit in 1932.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many people work down the pit? I mean, we tend to see, obviously the mining industry making the news on the telly at the moment. You see pit heads and...
Up under, wonder? Worked down the pit.
You say a couple hundred. Well, my father's down there the same time as Vic was down there at Hanwood, like.
Yeah.
And they were all together, like. All these here today are most the ex-miners. I can always remember Vic when I used to wave to him getting in the cage. He knows that.
Well,
Okay, Vic, so...
the first job
Yeah.
we were called drawers. We used to have a rope tied around our waist and a chain going back through our legs on our hands and knees all day, drawing the coal in a dram from the coal face down to where they could load it in the tubs. And it was loaded in the tubs then, pushed onto the rail and up the pit.
You were 14 years old.
14 years old.
And you were crawling on your hands and knees underground, pulling what weight of coal?
About 2'6".
Yeah.
About 2'6".
2'6" a headroom.
Yeah. Oh, as much as they could put on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would be
A couple hundredweight.
a couple hundredweight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What hours did you work?
Used to be down the pit by 7:30 in the morning
Yeah.
till about 3:30 in the afternoon. And then you had to walk. When you got down, you had to walk a couple of miles.
2 miles.
Yeah, to the face.
Any idea which direction that went in from here?
Yes, it went. One direction went towards Ford and Yockleton.
one went towards Crompton. And
Well, that's the same direction.
Yeah.
On other up up Hanwood Bank, up place where they call Red Lane. Went up that way.
Okay, so I'm trying to see this picture of you there. What did you do for light?
Candles.
Well, they were very dangerous.
No, there wasn't any because there was no gas down the pit, as such. It was free of gas. But some of the old miners used to take canaries down in a cage, and if they started to sing, there was a bit danger of gas then. But the lighting was through candles. You used to get a bit of clay, soft clay, stick on the face, stick your candle in it. That's where the lighting.
How much were you paid for doing this?
Oh, you got rich, I'll tell you.
Oh, go on then, tell me.
8 shillings a week I got.
You got 8 shillings a week, 40
shillings.
pence a week.
Yeah. That was my top wages. Yeah.
Okay, well, and then you obviously realised you're in a good career structure. Where did you go? That was a drawer.
That was a drawer, yeah.
Yeah.
Called a drawer.
Unskilled, and presumably it was the lads.
There used to be 8, about 6 in the gang. 6 in the gang. There'd be 2 blokes working on the face. And then a bloke chucking the waste stuff back into what they call the gob.
Yeah.
Gob. And then there'd be another bloke loading the tubs. But I was doing the drawing, fetching the coal down for him to load. And that's how it went on.
Good Lord.
I wasn't down there long.
You're not. I mean, the face workers, that was just picks and shovels, no...
I was 5'4" in height then, on 8 stone.
Actually, you were very fit, weren't you?
I was when I started.
How long did it last?
How long did I last?
Yeah, how long did... Well, how long were you a drawer?
But not long. I was only down the pit about 6 months. Come out.
Well, did you make a very conscious effort to get out of the mining industry?
I got to admit it was too much for me. I was only you got to be really tough then to stick that out.
Yeah, I think you did. I mean, you've not described, people talk about the good old days a lot, don't they? I mean, you certainly haven't painted any picture that makes them sound very good to me.
These are the good days.
Yeah.
You hear people saying about the old days, no such thing. We had to go up the fields and get a Swede out of the field and eat, and rabbits we used to live on. These are the good days, in my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I really do. I mean, look at us now. We're sitting, we're warm, we're comfortable. Yeah. It's nice. We've got nice coffee and tea and sandwiches and everything we want. Yes, it's a lot better than...
Can't describe the difference.
Where did you go to when you left the mining?
Where'd I go?
A job in the fresh air, I hope, for a start.
Well, I did. I went to work for Mr. Steele of Vinton on the farm.
Yeah.
And I joined the army then when I was just turned 17. That was the best thing out.
Yeah, so that'd be 17, about 1930...
36.
36 you joined the army, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, which regiment did you join?
I joined the KSI to start with,
yeah.
But I transferred to the RASC. Yeah, I was in the field bakery.
Oh, that's a better job altogether, isn't it?
It was damn hard work. It was harder work than what I had down the pit.
Good Lord, why?
The manual work, innit? It was harder work than when I worked down the pit.
Yeah, so by the time 1939 came, you were there, all regulared up, fully trained and ready to go. What happened then?
I was in Oswestry then.
Park Hall?
Yeah. And then war broke out. And I was in France then on the 5th of September, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went in with the BEF straight away?
Yeah. Yeah. And I came back about a fortnight after Dunkirk.
After Dunkirk? Well, what were you doing for the fortnight? Did you book a holiday and insisted on staying, or what?
We didn't know anything about Dunkirk until we got back. We come back from St. Malo. I think that was the last port they took, wasn't it? St. Bottle.
Yeah. And you were stuck in St. Malo, Dunkirk had happened and you didn't even know about
Didn't
it.
even know about it.
But you must have been aware that it was time to come home.
Oh, well, you knew there was something happening to me. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But at least you didn't have to wade out to the ships and all that.
No. We got back, landed in Weymouth.
Well, you have amazed me because I didn't realise there were any British troops left in Europe after Dunkirk. I thought that was it. And
Oh, no, well, I don't know how many was there, but that's where we come back, and that was about, got to be 2 weeks after Dunkirk.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Did you go back again?
Pardon?
Did you get to go back again in 44?
No, I went to the Middle East then. I was only a couple of months in here, and I went off to the Middle East and Italy then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got your knees brown?
Yeah.
Well, my cousin went and fetched Queen Wilhelmina across with the guards.
Yeah.
They had to fetch them back again. And, of course, he was down in the pits with this gentleman. At Hanwood as well, Percy Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Got so many...
There's a lot of Evanses around here, aren't there?
They're all related.
Are they all related?
Biggest one, Jones.
There's another one here. We'll get to him in a minute. Who's it?
That's the chap you want to talk about, the history of Hanwood.
Is it? Well, we'll get round to him in a minute. We've got plenty of time here on Monday's Place. It's a leisurely programme. Well, I'm fascinated. You grew up in Hanwood as a boy when it was a mining town. You prefer it now, obviously. What presumably the pit's going as the biggest change. No other major changes. No housing.
Well, all the industry out of Hanwood have gone, it. Hanwood used to be one of the busiest places anywhere around at one time.
What other industry was there apart from the mining?
You had the Cobden flour mills up at Hanwood Bank. You had the brickworks, Crack Meal, milling at Crack Meal, Arthur, wasn't it? Yeah, milling at Crack Meal. Very, very busy place Hanwood was.
They were making bricks up till about 1941. Then they closed it down after because the kilns, when they lit up at night and the Germans came across, well, they'd see the fires, you see, so they had to close down after. But there's a lot of Hanwood bricks about, you know, with Hanwood stamped on them. Quite a lot. Yeah. What part of where I used to live? Mm-hmm. About a couple hundred yards from where I used to live. And they used to fire up at night, but of course...
oh yes, pull that light out. Obvious target.
Yes, so that...
Hanwood didn't get bombed though, did it?
Oh, they had a landmine by Hanwood Dairies. Woke everybody up, didn't they? But,
well, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the dairy still there.
They're closed now.
Yeah.
They're closed now, Mike.
Just the other side of the railway bridge on the right.
That's right. It looks a bit dilapidated. It's closed down. I believe they're going to have it for dumping papers or something like that, as far as I know, Mike.
One of the biggest industries in Hanwood, just as I was born and a little bit growing up, was the mill down at the bottom of Weir Cottages.
Yeah.
Used to make flax there. Used to bring the flax over from Ireland, spin it into linen in there. And then there's a field at the back of there, what they call the bleach field. They used to put all the stuff out on there for it to bleach. And it still goes by the name now of bleachy, we used to call it. But bleach field is there. And that's what that row of cottages is named after now.
I'm with you, yeah. Yes, because you just had to, you put it in the sunshine and that
bleach it. Bleach the linen, right then? Yeah.
Incredible. That is incredible, isn't it? Why Hanwood? Where's our elder gone? She's gone. Where's she gone? She's up at the top. Hilda. Oh no, I don't know. You see, 1 minute you're talking to them, the next minute they disappear. They're off the other end of the room. What you doing, woman?
Looking at the photograph.
What are you looking at photographs of?
Oh, they've just discovered people that they know on the photograph of the choir, the Hanwood choir, mixed choir years ago. Do you want to talk to someone about the railway station?
Well, we can talk about the railway station. I don't know. I'm still fascinated by industry, but...
we haven't got anyone here who knows about or actually worked at the Cobden flour mill. But,
we haven't. Anybody who worked in the flax mill?
It all came to an end, I think, round about 1940, didn't it?
That's right.
During the war, that seemed to be the end. And I was just thinking what he said about about lights attracting German bombers, that may have been why it came to an end and it never restarted.
And I suppose too that, I mean, the bulk of the young men, or the bulk of the men were away, so your labour force had gone, hadn't it?
Also, the coal seam had petered out. It wasn't very good. It was, and in fact, I saw in the book that it said by 1940 there were only 50 men employed in the mine, as opposed to several hundred before the war.
Yes, it became unprofitable, I understand. Mr. Turner there was the last station master in Hanwood, and someone has just said to me that Hanwood was fairly unique in it had two stations, one at the other end of the village, used by particularly for the Cobden flour mill, and then of course the passenger and the ordinary passenger and freight. Mr. Turner was the last station master, George Turner.
Right, okay. Well, let's go and talk to George, the last station master, because obviously with all this industry, you couldn't... I'm going to go and sit by George. Morning, George. Can I squeeze in there, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much. They're all sitting in here. It's wonderful places. Morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, George.
Good morning, very good morning.
The last of the station masters.
That's right.
Are you a Hanwood person?
Oh, no, I've been here about 45 years.
Oh, just an incomer then.
Just a newcomer.
Yeah.
Well, when I came here, there was, Hanwood wasn't very much. It was about 300 on the electoral roll when I came here, and about 1,000 now, I think. It's grown considerably.
It's probably grown back to what it was.
Well, probably yes, because it was a thriving place when the mills were going and the pits were going and the brickworks were going and all that. It was quite a thriving place. And, well, I didn't remember it, of course, but as a lad I used to come this way, so I'm in the 83rd now, so...
Oh, you very good.
Yes. So
well, I'll say with my hand on my heart, you certainly don't look it. I'm a great flatterer. No, I'm not a great flatterer. What's this, Rebecca?
Saving. Well, this has just been handed to me, this wonderful piece of vellum with beautiful calligraphy recording that Richard Jones saved somebody's life. It's just been handed to me by the gentleman over there.
Oh, so let's have a look at this. I'm going to...
Somebody from drowning.
The Royal Humane Society, supported by voluntary contributions, patron Her Majesty the Queen, the Duke of Cambridge, Grace the Duke of Argyll. My word, there's a lot of ours. At a meeting of the Committee of the Royal Humane Society held at their office, 4 Trafalgar Square, on the 21st day of May, 1889, H. Pickering Clark, Esquire, was in the chair, and it was unanimously resolved, now I'm into this wonderful copperplate handwriting, that Richard Jones is justly entitled to the honorary testimonial of this society inscribed on vellum, which it most certainly is, which is hereby awarded him for having, on the 15th of April 1819, gone to the rescue of Arthur Price, who was in imminent danger of drowning in the River Ray, or is it Ree?
that's right.
Both, Ray or Ree, anyway, at Hanwood Salop, and whose life he gallantly assisted in saving. Isn't that fabulous? Now, George, I'll be back. We'll talk about the railways in a minute, but I get sidetracked, you know. People, you see, I'm just about to start talking about railways, and people give me pieces of vellum. Now, so this is yours, is it?
Yes. That was my grandfather. He lived at number 7 Weir Cottages.
Yeah.
He kept a general store there, which I mean general store in baths and things they used in those days.
His name was Richard Jones.
Richard Jones.
Right, let's check him out. We can check him out in the Kelly's directory, can't we?
What year are we looking at, Michael?
1895, Richard Jones General Store we're looking for.
Dum 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 dum.
Dum 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 dum. Jones Richard Shopkeeper. There we are.
Yes, we've got it.
I've got him.
Yeah.
Now that's your grandfather.
That's my grandfather, yes.
And amazingly, he rescued somebody from drowning. Can you tell us the story of that?
I can tell you a lot about it. It's as they used to use the river a lot in those days, as you know, for fishing and playing and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And he kept the main shop in Hanwood in those days, what was usually a general shop.
Yeah.
As they used the baths and, you know, there was no water or electric laid on then, as you know.
So he had a bathhouse.
Well,
or a bath.
That's right. They kept a bathhouse there.
Mm-hmm.
And
presumably inspired by the mining.
Well, it did help the neighbours out if they were short of water or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
As you say, the average family in railroad then was six in each family.
Yeah.
There was no water laid on, no electricity, nothing.
No.
You just imagine how they did the baths and the washing of these children. I mean,
With great difficulty, I mean, is the quick
coming
answer.
back to the basics as they're talking about today, they were basics, weren't they?
Yes, I think there's a lot of basics we don't want to go back to, aren't there?
Mind you, they were a very knit community. In that days, they had a lady that brought them into the world. They were all born in their cottages. They weren't taken to hospital or anything like that. They were born in house, reared in the house. And when you died, they had a lady that came and laid them out, and the coffin was put in the front room. It wasn't taken away. They were left in the front room until the funeral. And
then buried in the churchyard here.
And they used to carry them to the churchyard here on a bear. That's a four-wheel truck.
Yeah.
And of course it took about half a mile journey. It took a very long time.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
And everybody, I mean, the whole community would be affected by a death because...
Exactly. I can remember the age of 6, and it's stuck in my memory. I happened to go to preparing for the funeral to my granny's, and I happened to walk into this front room, and the coffin was laid out, you know, there, and the lid was removed. And that's why it's stuck in my memory.
A bit of a shock for a 6-year-old.
Well, as I say, it's education again, isn't it? With knowing what death's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, Richard Jones was your grandfather. He kept the general store where we know that the date on this is 1889, isn't it?
Yes.
When you don't know anything about this story at all?
I'm afraid I don't. No.
But the Jones family stayed in Hanwood ever since?
They've been there ever since, yeah.
How long were they
My
here before?
mother lived in Weir Cottages opposite the mill, and my father lived at number 7 Weir Cottages, and I had 16 uncle and aunts.
Good Lord, you were Hanwood.
So it was Hanwood, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was, and you stayed here?
And I moved during the war. But you see, in those days, they never went anywhere on trips or things like that. They married a girl next door, or, you know. So actually, we're all related. You could say we're cottages. They were somewhere along the line.
Everybody was related, yes. Well, you do get the old static communities, don't you?
Yes.
So you moved away from Hanwood and then...
During the war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then came back?
Yes.
Can't keep away, can you?
No.
How long were you away?
I was away about 10 years altogether from Hanwood.
You're not still running the general store?
No, I'm afraid not. But I know a man who does, and used to, and I don't think many know it in Hanwood. There used to be a chap named Timms.
Yeah.
And he was a fruit merchant, and he used to have a shop at the top end of Hanwood, and he used to sell bananas, overripe bananas to the children at a penny a time.
Big treat. Vivian's found more exciting. Thank you very much for showing that. Now, do cherish that, won't you? Because it's a great family heirloom, that, isn't it? Cheers. Vivian's dragging me off. Where are we being dragged off to now, Vivian?
Well, it's just that I've just discovered that
I've got to go and talk about the railways.
a very modest but very interesting gentleman who I've met before, Ken Locke, who is the local, he's the local mine expert, historian of mines. And I can remember an excellent walk that he took with the Friends of the Museum a few years ago to Snail Beach. He's just brought me...
Shropshire Magazine.
Shropshire Magazine.
January 1970.
1970, with an article...
I'll tell you what is quite frightening about this, Vivian, actually. 1970, 23 years ago. Look at the fashions on the back.
I know.
This man with his... It's an advert for the gas board. Never mind. The Jameses keep open house all winter, and there she is in her mini...
Twiggy-style girl.
A Twiggy girl in her mini shift, and the guy with the hair who looks like some desperate member of some ghastly 70s pop group. And we all looked like that in those days. Well, you didn't, did you? I mean, you look more like the Twiggy girl, didn't you?
I wish that was so. But anyway, draw a veil over that.
Sorry, let's get back to Ken's article. Where is Ken, anyway?
He's here.
Hello, Ken. Come and join us, Ken. How are you? Now then, you wrote this... Vivian says you are the mining expert.
Well, no, not an expert at all, but I'm just interested in the area.
Are you local?
From Shrewsbury, Copthorne, Shrewsbury.
Yeah. Okay, you've obviously been interested in the area for a very long time. I mean, when it was far less, or the public was far less aware of our own heritage,
right,
which
yes.
is there on our doorstep. I mean, you were writing articles in 1970. When did your interest begin?
Oh, I think in about the late 50s. I was lucky enough to be able to speak to a lot of the old miners before they died. This here is an area shown on
Yeah,
this
no.
map here where they mined.
Right, I'm a bit lost here at the moment. No, I'm not. Right.
This is the-
this is a geological map.
Yes, it's superimposed on an Ordnance Survey map here, and the red colour shows you where they mined. This is Moat Hole mines here.
Yeah, that's...
And it shows you where they mined to up each month of the year here until they finished in 1934.
Oh, I see.
Moat Hole and Hanwood were joined in 1921, and they worked as a unit until, as I said, 1934. The mine finished about Christmas 1940.
Yeah.
And here, we're jumping away from the mining very slightly. This is a parachute cord. Two landmines arrived in the area
Yeah.
on the 20th of November, I think, 1940, just before the mine closed. One landed at Woodcote and the other landed at Edgebold. And this is part of the silk parachute cord.
That's made of silk, is it?
Yes.
This is I'm holding a rope about, what, half-inch diameter? It's slightly flattened. Very beautiful, very fine. What do you do with ropes? Knot them? No, they're not knotted. What are they? What's the actual rope-making process
Spliced.
called? Spliced, yes. I mean, quite elaborately spliced, made of silk, and the most beautiful... Well, silk is a beautiful
Yes,
material,
yes.
isn't it?
Soft
And a
pliable.
German landmine floated down into Hanwood and
Two of them, yes.
on rope like that.
Presumably with a silk parachute as well.
Yes.
No doubt made into evening dresses by lots of ladies as well for the time.
Well, no, when the explosion took place, you see, they would be in little bits, yes.
Oh dear.
A
Well, you had
few
to get-
windows were broken at Horton Lane and some pigeons killed in the wood of Woodcote, but otherwise I don't think very little damage was done, fortunately. Here,
The pigeon population was desperately demoralised by this. So, actually, John, do you remember back in Newport when we were talking and the story of, it came in and it only killed a rabbit and
That's right.
and a frog?
That's right. That was the story. Whether they underplayed it or not, we don't know, do we?
I don't know, but I think it was... sorry, Ken, yes.
you were referring to the flying bomb then,
Yes,
were you?
the Newport one that only killed...
yes.
But what we did find when we were in Newport, and they told us that story, lots of it, we'd only killed a chicken and a frog or a rabbit and a
Yes,
frog.
yes.
That story sort of is all over the country.
Yes.
And I wonder whether it was put out to, whatever the damage was caused, they said, it was a morale-boosting tale. Anyway, you brought me Thomas Corbett, Perseverance Ironworks, Shrewsbury. This is from
1921.
1921. This, it's a page out of a journal of some description. Any idea what it was?
Yeah, well, this shows you the type of agricultural implements that were used in this part of the country until, I should say, well into the 50s, until the tractors became popular.
Yeah, this is Corbett's Perseverance. Oh, it's a catalogue, pure and simple, isn't it? Yes.
Morris's Oilworks in Castle Foregate.
Yeah, Castle Foregate, going up to Ditherington. Now, this sort of actually does to me what a visit to Acton Scott Working Farm Museum with a farming friend, the same effect, because I went round Acton Scott with his friend whose family farmed in Shropshire for generations, and everything we looked at that was all oiled and polished and repainted, Stan said, oh, we got one of them in the shed. But, I mean, this is stuff that's very familiar to me, and very reasonably priced, weren't they? That's the interesting thing. We look at the prices of them. I mean, if you take, say, for example, let's find a plough. You can buy a plough for what? Even the best was £15, which I suppose in 1921 was a lot of money, wasn't it?
Yes.
But I mean, the sort of plough that any pub called the Plough tries to get over its front door, or on its car park somewhere, you could buy one in 1921 for about £15. I shouldn't think you buy one now for £15, could you?
No. Even if it was the same one.
Yeah.
That was a lot when wages were 8 shillings a week.
Oh, yes.
8 pence a week.
Yeah. But still not pro rata against a tractor. But then, of course, farming depended far more on manual labour.
Well, the horse would have been quite expensive, I suppose, wouldn't it? The heavy horse that you needed to pull your plough.
We've been told, Ken, quite a lot that the mining industry closed down and the industry in Hanwood went because for the fear of German attack in the war. Is this true, or was...
Well, the mines, the coal seam was only between 16 and 20 inches in depth, so it wasn't really economical, and the Essential Works Order was in force at that time, and the miners went to the Dawley area to work in the slightly larger pits. And what else can I say about it? They were just worked out really. It's so far away from the pit. It's nearly by the Hare and Hounds at Crocton.
Yeah, it's a big area. I mean, you wouldn't think it. As I say, looking at it now, I mean, it's nice agricultural land or residential, isn't it? You wouldn't think there's lots of old mine workings down there. I certainly wouldn't. I mean, it's obvious up as you get to the top of Hope Valley and out over the grits and the gravels and up, and Stuyvesant looks like a mining area, but this doesn't. That's what I can't get over.
Well, this hilly country you see around here is represented underground as well by faults. And they had to go either over or under the faults to get to the coal. And eventually, when they got a mile away from the shaft bottom, the faults were too much, so they went either left or right, and then decided it wasn't economical to pursue the coal any further.
No, I see you could be going along, and then suddenly you hit a rock face, and your coal seam slipped.
You see on this plan here is a 48-foot fault, just a quarter of a mile in front of the Woodcutter pub.
So you'd have to change the whole mine. You'd have to either go up or down 50
inclines, and that made a problem when they were winding the coal back to the pit bottom as well.
Yes, well, I know Vic was telling us about being a drawer when he was 14.
When there was electric, when they wound with electricity after 1919, and there was quite a problem breaking the trucks as they came back down towards the pit face. The seam was about 1 in 10 away to the north.
Yeah.
Deep into the north, so when they were at the furthest extremity, they were about 900 feet below the ground, which is, to say, 300 yards. And the shaft itself was about 156 yards, so they went down at quite an angle. But when they came to these faults, they had to... The problem was with bringing these trucks back, they had to brake them, otherwise they'd run away.
Yep.
So there was quite an involved business winding them back to the shaft bottom to lift them up. And as you see, photographs here of the tramway to Cruckmeal, and a photograph of the Cruckmeal. What's happened to that?
There it is. Is that it? Yeah.
This is a photograph of Cruckmeal showing the actual tramway that came over the road bridge at Cruckmeal to the screens and the railway sidings at Cruckmeal. See, there's the bridge as it is today.
Yeah.
That's the road bridge there. And this is the headgear at Cruckmeal. There was no winding of coal done after 1926 here. It was just used as an upcast air shaft. And there's the horse there that used to haul the trams up from Hanwood.
Is it the famous Charlie the horse?
Well, no, I don't think this one went underground. This is one that was on the surface.
We've got Charlie the horse, haven't we? There's lots of photographs of Charlie the horse about, and Charlie appears in the book as well. Doesn't it? When was this photograph taken? Any idea?
No, I should think about 1890 or 1900.
Yeah. Probably tell by the fashions, the neckerchief and then the collared detached shirt.
It was certainly taken before the powerhouse was built at Cruckmeal in 1921.
Yeah. Amazing. Have you been down the mine workings?
Not this one, not these here, no. Well, the last coal, deep coal, was mined in Shropshire in August of 1979 at the Granville.
Yeah.
And all coal mine since has been open cast. Is there anything more I can say about that?
No.
It was the railway, wasn't it, that really began to do for the small mines?
Yes. The mines around Astley provided coal for the lead mines. But when the railway was opened as far as Minsterley in February of 1861, that enabled better and cheaper coal to be available at the railheads. Consequently, the mines Pontisford and Astley mines closed.
Yeah. We're painting a fascinating picture of, and most unlikely picture of the place. You know, I had no idea. I knew there was some sort of vaguely mining associations, but I never realised the extent, the number of families it employed and kept, and how it's all just vanished. That I find very strange.
In fact, I mean, I was just looking at Ken's article here in the Shropshire magazine. Evidently, there was mining right across Shropshire, and a great band round Shrewsbury going right over to the Brython Hills, which we don't realise now. We think of it as being such a rural county. The Shrewsbury coalfield, which was a mile wide, he said, extended eastwards in an arc from the foot of the Brython Hills through Albury, Halfway House, Westbury, Astley and Arscott, under Shrewsbury, between Frankwell and Sutton Farm, around Horman Hill, and ended in the Shrewsbury High Arkle area. Well, I mean, that's astonishing to me.
It's a huge area. And it's just struck me, Vivian, and probably an amazing thought, but I think we could make a case to say that Shropshire is now, in the 1990s, a more rural county than it's been since the Doomsday Book.
Yes, certainly more rural than it was 100 years ago.
Yes, I mean, fantastic. There are so many places which were industrial and now aren't. Yes, we're getting ruraler all the time. Do not worry about these things at the planning department. Fate is determining our own progress for us. Quite incredible. I haven't talked about the railways yet, because, I mean, with all this industry, Ken, we must have had, I mean, it's communications that make it. It must have been quite a big railway network. And George is gone now. He's got fed up of waiting for me, and he's toddled off. Hilda, which way did he go? Oh, he's...
Getting somebody from the railway.
We're getting the railway man. Yeah, well, there he's gone.
Where were we?
You're hovering around the dartboard here, aren't you? Shameless you are.
Oh, I'll stop talking to you. I'll sit and stand and talk to you.
Stand and tell us about it. Yes, now then. Sorry, George. You came to Hanwood 40-odd years ago. Did you come out as an employee of the railways?
I did, yes, as a station master.
You came out station master?
Yes, that's right.
Where were you before?
I was roving about on British Railways as a relief clerk, and then I went to as a relief station master. That is when anybody goes on holidays or they're sick or ill, or I used to go and do their job. And then I came here. I got to what they call a grade out of it. They got a rise here, and I was here about 12 years, I think, 11 years. So 1963, 62, 63. I came in 1949 to 63. That's 14 years I had here. But I had only Hanwood under me in those days, which was quite a busy town. Well, busy village, busy. On the railways, we had the spar and the varieties going away, and there was the mills were just finishing, the brickworks were just finishing, the coal pits were just finishing, and we used to send quite away quite a few cattle and the horses and so forth from here. Local farmers and their products used to come in here. We had a coal wharf here where the coal was always taken to the local people in their houses. And, well, it was quite a busy station.
How many people did you have on the staff?
Well, I came here, there were about 300 people, as I say, on the electoral roll. And now there's 1,000. So
yeah.
It's gone quite a bigger station. But I didn't, although I have lived in this house all the time I've been, since I came here in 1949. I say I've lived here. My wife lived here for a time, and I had a roving commission for about 15 years when I left Hanwood. And I wasn't always at home here. But I've been retired now 20 years. The best job I've ever had.
It's a good job, is it, this retirement?
Well, I only made one mistake in life.
What was that?
I should have retired when I left school.
Well, yeah, I was talking about this in Cleverly. I've got a theory that we should all retire at 18.
That's about the right time.
And then go back to work at 25.
You know your way around then. But yes. Fortunately, I haven't had any bad illnesses or anything like that. I've been fairly healthy around here, and I've enjoyed life actually. And eventually, I became what I must be one of the first, what they call area managers here as a station master, because when I was finishing, they put other stations under me: Playley Road, Ponsbury, Minsterley, Yockleton, Westbury, Brython, Minsterley, Hooker Gate, the welding depot, which has all been and gone now. They used to weld all the long rails, 900 foot long.
Yeah, I remember.
That's why we used to weld them here. And that came on to be all the operating side of it came on to be, not the welding or anything like that.
That was where the new road and the old road and the railway crossed the new road at the same point, isn't it?
That's at Hooker Gate.
That's at Hooker Gate.
That's at Hooker Gate, that's right.
And the welding depot was on the right as you're going south. Is that right?
On the right as you're going south. On the train, yes, that's right, it's on your right. So you're going into Shrewsbury, the welding depot is on your right. Going into Shrewsbury, that's north.
That's north. That's right. It's a Hooker Gate anyway.
It's Hooker Gate, that's right. Yes, well, that's all gone now, of course, in the places, sites, all the buildings are pulled down, the site's vacant now, so, but I enjoyed life, and I had quite the staff in different staff, Sigmund and so forth, at different places, and quite a staff for which I was given grades as I took a bit more on, I took a bit more on all the time, and eventually I went out on a roving mission as a relief station master.
Yeah.
And then I got on to what is called station masters were going out then after a while, and we used to wear the little station master's hat, the little tiny gold braid all around it, and little tiny pillbox hats. And that. But then, of course, they went out of fashion, and we came to area managers then, because the area manager is a glorified station master with 3 or 4 stations underneath him. And I went as a relief area manager, and I used to go relieving at other stations. I had 9 months station master at Shrewsbury in my younger days. I was quite busy then. When we had steam trains then, and all the platforms were working.
You must be sad at the decline in the railways at now.
Well, railways, yes, I am very sad with them because railways in my blood. I had 47 years on the railway, and I suppose it's in my blood.
You must be a great friend of Russell Mulford's.
Oh, I know Russell very well. Yes. I know Russell.
Anybody who's been a station master around here has got to know Russell.
Well, Russell's in 1 or 2 railway clubs, and I am with him in the Bishop's Castle Railway Club, and so we're both in that. And, I know Russell quite well, yes. I tell you, I always listen to him on a Sunday and read his articles in the Shrewsbury Chronicle every week.
Well, that's enough commercials for Russell Mulford. Thanks very much for talking to us, George. Were you the last station master at Hanwood?
Oh, yes, I was, yes. I left, and somebody came behind me and closed it down and something like that. Other station, relief station master.
We're talking beaching time, aren't we? Early
yes. And I went on to further things then, and I got up the tree a little bit. And
amazing. Right, Vivian's coming to tell me something else exciting.
No, I wasn't actually. I was just going to say, do you want to talk about the flour mill? Because
do we want to talk about the flour mill? Yes, I've got to go talk about the flour mill, George. I'll be back. The flour mill. Yes, come on, Hilda. The flour mill. Who's the flour mill man?
Jack might be able to little.
Jack?
A little about the flour.
Jack, can you can remember the flour mill?
The Cobden Mill, yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us something about it? How was it powered?
Well, it was powered by its own motors because they used to have a stream went under the mill.
Yeah, so it was a water mill.
That generated the power for the mill.
General, had it been, I mean, that's the functions of a water mill, which, but instead of driving directly into machinery, they drove dynamos, and then the machinery was electric. Was it a water mill originally?
I don't know.
You know, it almost must have been, mustn't it? Was it a big mill? How many people worked there?
Oh, well, I should think in about 50 or 60 at least, when it was in full working order. Yeah, because they used to come from all around the area to work there, from Oaklegate to Anscroft, London, and all over the place.
Now, a thing like that would not only, I mean, it's supporting 50 workers, so it's 50 families it's supporting, but there must have been, a big transport system to get the corn to the mill, to get the flour away from the mill.
Yes, well, they had steam sentinel wagons, I remember them, to bring it down to the station and stuff. And a lot of the farmers used to bring their wheat and that to be ground, by horse and cart, and these big drays that they used to have, 4-wheel drays.
Magnificent sight.
Yeah.
Okay, the flour mill, the coal mines, the railways, the football team.
I've just been handed a beautiful
Trust you to get after the men in shorts, Vivian. Yes.
picture of some beefy chaps here. It's Shrewsbury Town Football Club,
Yes.
and Arthur Evans here.
All right.
Very knowledgeable about sport.
Arthur is a very... Well,
And perhaps he could tell us whether there are some Hanwood chaps.
no, this is Shrewsbury Town.
Is it Shrewsbury Town?
No, that's Hanwood. The Hanwood team playing on the game meadow. Probably in the Shrewsbury League Cup final, probably about 1937 or 1938.
37-38. We got a date on the back? No, we haven't, have we? That's a pity. Right, but
that's Arthur Hughes, who's my uncle, who played for Shrewsbury Town. Before they were in the league, in the football league rather. They were in the Midland League from about 1946. He played till about 1950. And that's another brother of his there on another tack, Billy Hughes, Nobby Hughes, who was a very good junior footballer, but also his main claim to fame was in the pigeon world.
Nobby Hughes of Hanwood.
Yeah, he was well known in the pigeon world. Unfortunately, he died rather suddenly, and he only had 2 daughters, and their husbands were not particularly keen on the racing pigeons, so unfortunately had to be sold. And this is a copy of the racing pigeon of 1976. And it's a full-page advert saying that...
Entire clearance sale of W.H. Nobby Hughes, deceased, Hanwood, Shrewsbury, breeder, cultivator and racer of the best racing Barker team of pigeons in the UK. What was a racing Barker? Is that a breeder?
Breeder strain of pigeon, yes. Oh, he was sort of well-known.
Let's have a read of this. Nobby Hughes is one of the great characters of the sport, recognised as the owner of the finest stud of racing Barkers in modern times. He made up his mind to cultivate this strain, and this strain only, several years before at the last war, obtained several Fred Guthrie. He got his birds from? Oh dear. Probably never been bettered. This is amazing stuff. And 360 birds were sold.
Yes.
That's an awful lot of pigeons, isn't it?
Well, I think at the time, I'm not quite certain, but I think they got very nearly £10,000 for the birds when they sold them. And of course that was in 1976. So
I'm still trying to do my sums. 360 into 10,000 is still a lot of money a bird, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously some were yearlings that won't be worth a lot, and obviously the better ones would fetch the bigger prices. But I gather that unfortunately he hadn't got any of the pedigree written down, so
I'll be back in a minute. We've got to do some news, haven't we, John?
We have, Michael, we have indeed. We'll come straight back to you after the news. We're at Hanwood for Monday's Place. Some terrific stories coming, still between 12 and 1. It is Radio Shropshire on 96 and 95 FM in stereo, and the news is next.
And Oswestry Town, so really the side that won the Junior Cup could be considered the 4th best side in Shropshire, and considering the side was mainly all local chaps, it obviously was quite an achievement. And they also had 1 or 2 splendid runs in the Welsh Amateur Cup at the time, and in 1949 they reached the semi-final at Oswestry and beat Rostothlin and Bersham 2-1. A special train was run from the village, and stacks of coaches as well. And I remember travelling back on the train, and the driver was continually blowing the whistle from the Weir Coppiducker Gate and to the local station, just to sort of signal to the people that in fact Hanwood had won. They then played in the final at Wrexham against Cly United, who were a side from near Wrexham. Unfortunately, they got beaten 2-0, but again a special train was run and stacks of coaches and private cars as well.
Amazing.
And, in that particular match, there was a crowd of 6,859 to watch 2 amateur sides. And I mean, now if Wrexham get a crowd approaching that, they think it's a really good gate.
Have to play Man United. I know.
I gather from the local paper as well at the time that there was also racing on at Bangor on Dee, which they thought might have affected. there'd been no Hanwood United previously. So there wasn't any fear of us getting handed with debts, or at least so we thought.
It's all politics, isn't it?
We've been going about since 1965. We won a reasonable amount of trophies in that time, but we're in one of our less productive spells at the moment, but we hope we'll soon get out of it.
Well, I'm sure things. Sack the manager, that's what you have to do, isn't it?
Oh, that's my brother-in-law, so I'm saying nothing on that.
You better be
score.
quiet on that. No,
in
not
case
just
he's
football,
listening
is it?
in.
It's not just football and pitches.
No.
We've got bowls here.
We also have a bowling side who was formed in 1924, so obviously this year we're celebrating our 70th anniversary. We were formed in 1924, went into the Shrewsbury League in 1926, and won the league title in 1929. Now, bowling has always had been called an old man's game, and I gather in 1929 that the individual trophies for winning the league were in fact walking sticks. And old Mr. Tomlins, who kept the local shop, Copy Tom, he was affectionately known to the locals, in fact kept his walking stick through all his life, and he regularly used to say, I won this for when we won the league in 1929. I don't know quite what the winners of trophies would think now is when they went up to receive the awards, they were presented with a walking stick.
Oh, I might be a bit offended. I've got to ask you, what does Hanwood do in the summer for sport?
Well, bowls in the summer, of course. They've also got a cricket team now. They had a team, I think the records are rather sketchy, in the 20s and 30s, which used to play on the field next to the football field where the new school is now. But they didn't start up after the war until about 1980. I think we got the miners' welfare left the playing field to the village, and we got some money together and flattened the football field and increased the size of it, and we were able to put a cricket square on it as well. And so they've been going since about 1980, and they've been fairly successful in that time. They've won a couple of leagues, working their way up. And so we've got the cricket club and the bowling club.
I'm being interrupted here by my... Hello?
Hello?
Oh, all right, and go back to Mum. The youngest Hanwoodian present, obviously. Who's that?
Well, that's obviously the youngest resident of Hanwood.
Well, let's go find out who that is. Want to come and be on my radio programme. Good morning, who does this belong to?
Mine.
He's yours. What's his name?
Alexander.
How old's Alexander?
It's 16 months.
He's walking well, isn't he?
Started walking on Christmas Day.
Is he? You must be very proud of him. Is he Hanwood born and bred?
No, he's not actually. I am.
Yeah.
Just come back for the day, Mum and Dad.
Oh, nice. Well, welcome back. What do you think of this one?
Family, the Shuker family, who apparently Mrs. Savage tells is one of the oldest families in Hanwood. Yes. The Shuker family.
Yes. No, Vivian's got the information here. The Shukers.
Oh,
yes.
well, no, actually, I'm going to talk to you about Mrs. Savage, because she's here. Her husband's 87. He's not able to be here. But they live in a house called Woodhall, which is first recorded in the 12th century, and sounds a fascinating house. The Savages, her husband, is actually mentioned in the book. In the late 19th century, Woodhall was owned by Clive Phillips Woolley. That's a family that's still about, and tenanted by Thomas Savage and his son William. That's William's wife is here today, and the house was bought by Mr. Atherton, who owned the coal mine and brickyard. And the Savage family were tenants, and they bought the house in 1950, and it's got all kinds of relics and remnants.
Amazing. No, I don't know about that. I don't know about anything. What's all this over here? What we're looking at here? Good morning, your ladyship. Back to the landlady. You have to keep in with the landlady, if you don't get any more coffee, do you? No, I'm not dropping hints, am I? I left the last one. I'm very sorry. What are we looking at?
There's some photos.
Who's responsible for these photographs? It's that Hilda, isn't it? Now then, these photographs, can we find Hilda? Oh, she's rapt, she is. Because these are photographs all nicely displayed. What have we got here? Anod, folk. What's Anod? Anod. Meet the oldest licensee. Is this you?
No. Not quite.
Not quite. Hilda.
Yes.
Now, all these nicely mounted photographs, what are these all in aid of?
Well, as it says on the top, Hanwood folk.
And now these have been part of an exhibition, have they?
That's right, yes.
When did you hold the exhibition?
Shortly after the book was launched, a couple of months after the book was launched, we did it for people who weren't able to come to the launch.
Yeah.
An exhibition. As you can see, that's previous licensee here in the cop.
Henry Edwards.
Henry Edwards. Those were his two daughters who took on the...
Now then, Henry Edwards, when was he licensee here? When did he start? 78-year-old.
Yeah.
This is from the Chronicle, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. I gathered one time he was the oldest licensee in Shropshire. Reading in the book.
Henry Edwards. He ran the cock for 53 years.
Yeah.
When did he die?
1940 something, I think I've read.
And then his daughter...
Those were his two daughters who took over. They were licensees here.
No, he died in 1961.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So in 1961 he died. He was landlord for 53 years, so he took the pub over in 1908.
We couldn't have done, because I don't know.
Well, if he yes, come on. If he was landlord for 53 years and he died in 61, 53 from 61 is about 8, isn't it? So that's 1908.
We're quits now, because my arithmetic was better than yours earlier on.
Okay, well, that's fair. Right, so the... Nellie Morris, now Evans, Hanwood Farm, that's a wonderful picture. Isn't that a fabulous picture?
She's still living, that lady, sadly not well at the moment. She doesn't live in the village anymore. But
no.
Yeah.
But there she is. Now, Vivian, you're our costume expert, but look at that wonderful...
Oh, yes, those shoes. Well, those shoes are the sort that would be fashionable now, and she's got a wonderful sort of loose frock on.
Yeah.
Nice, with a low waist.
Low waist, yes,
And,
as happened in the 20s, even when you went to milking, your waist dropped about 6 inches below where it ought to be, didn't it?
So she's really quite smartly dressed, obviously summer day.
Yeah.
Nice light dress, and she's got a little hat on too.
But look at this fabulous milking stool. She's carrying a little three-legged milking
A real
stool.
three-legged milking
Not
stool.
a round-topped one, a polyhedral topped one.
And she's carrying the milk. I mean, she's actually got the milk in that bucket. Right.
Hanwood School in the 20s. Who's this lot?
So look, this lady still lives in Hanwood. Has lived in Hanwood all her life. Was the pupil at Hanwood
Winnie
School.
Poppet, her name
That's
was.
right, Mrs. Bowers now. Sadly couldn't be here today.
What a shame. What a shame. What a shame. Look at the lovely boots they're wearing.
Yes, didn't they?
Yes, I mean, don't you say... Oh, I don't know. I was going to say... Can you imagine girls nowadays wearing great big clumping boots? Yes, I can. Oh, yes. Vivian's here in her 28-holer Doc Martens, just in case there's any bother. Right, the Hanwood Mixed Choir, a happy company who offered... who often? Oh, sorry, there was an offer. I must get these glasses.
Right, local audience.
Local audience, that's the Hanwood Mixed Choir. When was that photograph taken? Any idea?
No, I don't know when that was taken. There's someone here today who's just discovered that her father is on the picture and he's delighted to see her father. Another Hanwood character, Sam George.
Yeah.
Dead now, of course, but very well known.
Postmaster, tailor and St. John's superintendent. He's standing there looking extremely fierce, isn't he?
Yeah.
Postmaster Taylor and St. John's... Is that his St. John's uniform?
It looks like it, doesn't it? Those are his two daughters on that school photograph, and they're still living.
Now, this is wonderful to see all this... I mean, this is the ephemera of heritage. It's not, there was a coal mine or there was a railway station. There were people who did ordinary things, ran pubs and were the postmaster, and they're all preserved. You've done a wonderful job on keeping Hanwood's history together, because you've got all the big stuff, but you've got the little stuff, which is so important, isn't it?
Mrs. Priest has finished her soup.
Mrs. Priest has finished her soup.
She's worth having a...
Okay, now this is a very significant moment in broadcasting history. Mrs. Priest has finished her soup, so she'll talk to us. Right, Vivian's dragging me off. Mrs. Priest, where's Mrs. Priest? Good morning. Now, I'm going to come and sit in here. Can I come and sit in here, dear?
Good morning, I just finished my soup.
Yeah, was it nice?
Yes, delicious. Delicious.
Delicious soup. What kind was it?
It was oxtail, but they forgot to cut the tail off.
So you got the whole ox?
Yes.
You enjoyed that, did you?
Yeah.
Now, why have you brought me over to interrupt Mrs. Priest?
Oh, well, I could just tell Mrs. Priest was a great character, so I thought you would have a chat
I think
with
she's
her.
a little devil burster.
She's lived here for 46 years. I've lived in my canton out in Rectory Gardens for 46 years, last August.
Yeah.
Previous to that, I lived up at the Panson for 7 years. Nothing was brought up there. You had to carry everything there from the village. We used to leave our milk at Shuker's number 1 Weir Road to start off with, and used to collect it on our way home from school, and then we left it at number 5. rear cottages.
Yeah.
The coal came from Shrewsbury to the farm at Whitley. Davies is a Whitley. If it was wet, they would tip it on the lane. We would get a horse and cart, fill the cart again with the coal, bring it across 2 fields, dump it outside the gate, and lock it in the gate.
Did you?
For our water, we had to go across 2 fields, and in the winter time, when the pump was frozen, we'd have to run across the fields with a kettle of boiling water, across a pool. If the ice was a bit thin, in you went, and you'd turn round and come back for another kettle of water. And then when I was a young girl, 10 and 11, I used to go to Hanwood pit to fetch my mum 100 weight of coal or 100 weight of slack every Saturday morning. The slack was a shilling a bag, the coal was 1 and 6 a bag. And I must admit that was the job I hated most in all the world.
I bet it was. Now, hang on. You were 10 years old and they're expecting you to carry 100 weight of
Now I
slack.
got a truck.
Oh, you got a truck?
But that was the job I hated in all the world, was pushing this truck up the main road from Hanwood Pit to Crackmeal.
That's a fair trip.
Yes, but I hated it. It was dreadful. To me, it degraded me, and I was only 10 and 11. Yeah. I think that's all I've got in him.
Is that it?
And I've been senior citizen leader. I've been in the WR morning, turned one out one morning, and then at 11:30 I had to be down in the kitchen and doing the vegetables for the cook and the kitchen maid.
Yeah.
And then scrubbing the kitchen out after. And on my half day I used to leave at 5 o'clock. My half day started at 5 o'clock. And I used to bike from right 11 towns to Crackmeal on a bush bike. And I bought that from Wiltshire, from the bike shop down by the station, £0.50 a week. Out of my wages.
Well, that was half your wages gone anyway, wasn't it?
I used to bike home to my mum and dad, back home. And then bike back for 9 o'clock at night. And if I was 1 minute late, I was on the carpet.
Good Lord. So, let's get this right. You started at some ungodly hour in the morning, you had 7 bedrooms to do, then it was down to the kitchen, prepare all the vegetables, scrub the kitchen. Now,
Yes.
what did you do with your spare time?
I didn't have any.
No, no, exactly. What did you do in the afternoons?
Working. I had my kitchen to clean, all my vegetable carpets to scrub out. I didn't finish my work till 5 o'clock of the night time. I worked damn hard.
Did it? Yes.
Oh, the garage. Stringers, the pub in the hotel in Mardle, the Queen's Hotel in Mardle.
Yeah.
My husband worked there with Jack Stringer.
Yeah.
When they had the stables and the ponies and the bikes. I met him there in the office.
Was it love at first sight?
No, well, with him it was, yes.
With him it was. I bet once you made your mind up, he didn't stand a chance, did he, poor
Not if I'd had my way.
You're a little devil, you are.
I am. Go find some young.
£1 a month.
Yeah.
£1 a month, working from God knows when till God knows
6
when. And
o'clock in the morning. I had to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning to light the fire, put the kettle on for the housemaid to come downstairs and take the missus and my boss a cup of tea. And I've done some right things in my time.
I bet you have.
Brought the water down, poor old boss couldn't put the... what I haven't done. I worked at the Duke of Edinburgh, the Duke of Westminster's estate for the agent. And he'd gone out hunting, the family had. And when he came back in, the water wasn't hot enough for him to have a bath. So the missus comes through to the kitchen. She said, will you tell Nancy to get the water hot? The Major wants a bath. I said, yes, madam, you'll have the water hot for that bath. I said, by 5 o'clock. So I go in the kitchen. There's a great big donkey. So I rake her bottom out. I ran coal and sticks on her and a bucket of Coke. At 5 o'clock, the water was boiling. They couldn't turn the taps off. And I had a month's notice.
Wonderful. It's one way of making you a bit feeling.
Well, but I was still there. They wouldn't let me go.
Wouldn't they?
No, they wouldn't pay me wages. Let me go. Kept me on.
Amazing. Amazing.
Never mind, I've had some lovely times.
Yeah.
I don't regret
You
it.
having a good time now?
I'm enjoying it, yes, but I don't have very good health. That's my problem. I got asthma.
Have you?
Yeah. It's difficult getting around now.
Is it, my darling? Well, you look after yourself.
I am doing.
Have some more soup.
No, I don't. Ooh.
What you having after your soup?
I've had enough for today. I've had liver and onion green for my tea.
Liver and onions for tea. Soup for lunch, and very good it was. Oxtail soup with the ox left in. Absolutely amazing. Vivian, what have we got here?
Well, what caught my eye was the name Chitty, because of course Miss Chitty, Lillian Chitty, was a very well-known Shropshire archaeologist, and she was the daughter of the rector, whose photograph is here.
In the book? I'm becoming increasingly impressed with this book, Hilda. It's very thorough, isn't it?
I used to attend my twins up at the Panson. I used to come all the way from Ponsonby up to Panson to give my twins. And when they were born, they had M&B tablets. They used to cut one tablet in 24 pieces. And I used to give them a 24th piece of a tablet every day. And then I had to buy turnip and cut holes in and give them a juice at the turnip.
He's a vegetarian doctor.
Oh, he's a vegetarian doctor?
I think so.
Do you remember Miss Chitty, Lillian Chitty?
I remember, but not to know her, really. They built that house, they knocked that house down in front of us.
Hanwood Rectory. That's gone, has it?
Oh, in front of us, we tried to bring it all down.
Shame, nice looking house, grand looking.
I lived where it was fetched down from. I'm on the ground that house was in.
It's a grand looking house, though, isn't it?
Yeah. You better come to this lady here now.
I've got to go and talk to that lady there now, am I right? Well, I don't think I'm going to argue with...
4 generations.
Well, 4 generations. Why have I got to talk to this lady over here?
She's,
Oh, hang on. There's a bit of a fight now. You see, they all will get behind these tables eating their soup, and you can't get through. It's a terrible business.
Lift your leg up.
I'm doing my best. God almighty, I don't know. You get bullied here. Now then, I've got to come and talk to this lady. Introduce me to this lady.
This is Mrs. Joan Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
And she lives in the station cottage down the road.
Hello, Mrs. Jones Roberts, who lives in... Yeah.
Live down the road.
You live down the road. You got a chance to get a word in edgeways after all
It's
that.
all right, I've enjoyed it. Yes, I have had 4 generations born in Hanwood. My grandfather was the manager of the Brighties mine.
Yeah.
Brighties mill, I should say.
Yeah. Hang on, this is another mill we're introducing, isn't it?
This is the Brighties mill that stood down the bottom of Whale Lane.
Now, Brighties is a lake...
It was the cotton mill, if you're getting it confused.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we got the cotton mill, that became the varieties mill.
It became the
varieties
varieties mill.
was mined up into the hills, really, wasn't it?
Back again at Minsterley
Yeah,
and
up to-
Harglith and all round there.
Around Aglet, yeah.
Yes.
Up around Cyberstones, in fact.
Yes.
And, in fact, varieties, it was ground at the mill and then went off to make paint, didn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yes, it is a Brighties mill. And, of course, then it ran out and, of course, the mill was knocked down eventually. But Grandad was manager there, and there's a funny story. He went to the flower show, but he only went to the flower show to hear the music. And by the time he'd set out and he'd got back again, somebody had broken into his house and taken all the things. Anyway, the police found him at the bandstand, told him somebody had broken in the house. He said, "Are the police there?" And they said, "Oh, yes, they've caught him." He said, "Oh, well, that's all right." And he stopped till 9:30, still listening to the band. My poor granny was having fits. And then my father worked at the Brighties mill. And, of course, it closed. He went up to Maylist. And in the end, he retired eventually. And he finished up chief engineer at Laporte Chemical. And my granduncle was the village blacksmith.
Yeah.
And my aunt played the organ in church. And she played for 40 years. And until her death, I think she had about 3 days off during that time. I mean, you didn't have any time off then. And my aunt was the village post lady. And she walked 5 miles every day.
With a woman
Right
around.
down Soka Gate. Yes, she walked. All through the war. Yes. Yes. And during that time, they took telegrams out. And, of course, the further you went, the more money you got, you see. I think it was about a shilling for about 2 miles, something like that, which was a great thing, I suppose, in those days. And we had a lot of shops. They told you about the shops?
No. Well, we talked about the general store, Mr...
I think there was 3 shops. And Mr. Tomlins kept the paper shop. And when the mines closed, you see, they all went to Highley and different parts, and they came backwards and forwards in a bus. And the miners used to get out, and Mr. Tomlins used to cut all their hair.
In the paper shop. Come into the paper shop.
Shop, he sold paraffin, everything, sweets and all. Wouldn't be allowed these days, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
And then there was an old lady lived down the post office lane, and she made toffees. For a big bag of these great big bullseye toffees, we used to call them, for about 8p a bag. And we used to take those to watch the fireworks. When I was a little girl.
Well, this is the flower show fireworks.
Yes. We used to walk right up the field to see the fireworks. It was quite an event. Take this great big bag of toffees with us.
The flower shows, it's a running theme. It's very difficult to talk about Shropshire and in living memory without talking about the flower show. It's obviously, I think perhaps we're getting very blasé nowadays, but I mean the flower show was a huge event, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a great thing. You've seen a good many people couldn't afford to go much in those days to it. So the fireworks were the highlight of the day. But in later years, after the first flower show after the war, I was working then and at the printers. And we printed all the programmes. And we used to work until very late at night, you know. It was a great thing. It was a record show, I think, that year. So I always remember the flower show through hard work. Long hours.
Yeah. Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
Did you get to see the fireworks that year?
Oh, we got into the flower show, right? Yes, I think we had complimentary tickets.
Well, I think you'd earned some, hadn't you? Oh, that's marvellous. Lovely we're talking to us. Right, Vivian is leading me on even further. Gosh, there's so many people. One more.
We had a great big Red Cross train. I don't know if Mr. Turner mentioned it.
Well,
I live next door to Mr. Turner.
Yeah.
A great big Red Cross train during the war. There was 12 coaches right down the siding.
Yeah.
And every now and again, it's got bedrooms and everything, kitchen and soldiers and everything in it.
This was permanently?
Yes, there's 2 houses there now.
Yeah.
All through the war, I mean.
Yeah.
And every now and again it had disappeared, and apparently it was going to pick up the troops from Dunkirk and take them to different hospitals round. And there was a wedding from that train.
A wedding?
Yes. A local lady married a soldier off the Red Cross train.
Good. Well, that's nice, isn't it? I mean, have your husband delivered by train. What a wonderful service they provided in those days.
Yes, I can always remember that. Oh, yes, they fitted in very well with the community, you know. Had with drives and different things, and a great many friends, I think, were made out of it, you know. And, of course, the war ended and off went the trains.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Turner doesn't remember that.
No, he wasn't here quite.
He wasn't here then, no.
No, he wasn't, was he? But,
No.
The war, I mean, we're in 1944, D-Day, the build-up to D-Day. This whole area was a huge storage dump, wasn't it? Ponsford Hill itself, just down the road, was a huge ammunition dump.
I was at school, but I can always remember my father was in the Home Guard, and he was in charge of the Home Guard. And our sitting room was just rifles, guns, Colts, and everything. Looking back, I don't know, I lived there. There was grenades and everything there.
Oh, I know. I can remember playing with grenades when I was a baby. Yeah.
I had a fit, you know.
You know, Daddy sort of saying, don't take the pin out, dear. Yeah.
And gas masks, going to school with the gas masks. And Hanwood House was over the road, and they had a huge cellar. And we used to have to go there for practice. Keep underneath the tree, all the children, and go down in the cellar for a while.
This was air raid practice.
Air raid practice, yeah. I suppose, as we know it.
Yeah, amazing. I must kick on because there's about 2,000 people now. Yes, Vivian?
Well, there's an anecdote over here in the corner about Annie the postwoman, I think.
Oh, we better go into... Now, Annie the postwoman, was that your auntie?
Yes.
That was your auntie, right, okay. Where are we going?
Lady here who will talk to you. When we used to have the mill at Hanwood, there down the bottom there, we used to play in there. We used to go running after this old man. We used to call him Mr. Morgan sells fish, 3 aprons a dish. And we used to...
You called him Mr. Morgan sells fish, 3 aprons? Why did you call him that?
We used to call him a nickname.
I see.
Yeah, it was the mill right at the bottom there. Yeah. We used to run after him there, and he used to run after us.
You cruel children.
Yeah. And we used to play on the meadow there, down the meadow, and I used to get on this bike. And when I got on the bike and let's get on the bar, she fell off right at the bottom there. We used to do soft things.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah. We used to have some fun.
You a little devil, you were, weren't you?
Yeah, years ago, but now it's all... You didn't do nothing like that now.
You can't go around.
No.
You can't go around calling me Mr. Morgan. He sells fish 3 aprons a day.
No.
No.
And
they'd get you under the fish relations board, wouldn't they, or something?
There used to be the mill at the bottom, and then there used to be the shed with all the tar in it. There used to be tar, and then there used to be a little brook, and there was a little bridge, and the houses used to be the same with the all houses at the bottom here, and there used to be a donkey shed, And
That's not for a donkey, that's for a donkey engine.
yeah, and then Mr. George used to have him at his house, and he used to got a carrot for him. He used to go to
Oh, it was a donkey, beg your pardon, yeah.
and he used to have a carrot. He used to go there.
I've got to go and see Annie the postman. Thank you for talking to us, darling. God bless you. Now then, who are we going to talk to?
This lady took over from Agnes the postwoman.
Agnes or Annie? Good morning. Good morning.
She took over from the postwoman.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I took over. Yeah.
So you became a post lady?
Yeah, I was a post lady then for 3.5 years or so. Yeah.
Did you still have the 5-mile walk every day?
5 miles?
5 miles? Oh, sorry.
Did you 5 miles? It was about, 11 miles?
Mm.
We used to go miles walking, yeah, definitely.
You didn't have a bicycle?
Not to start with, no, because I took over when she was ill in the January, and I walked.
That's a hell of a time to take a post round over,
Yeah,
isn't
in
it?
January, yeah, it certainly was. And I used to walk it, and then after that, when Agnes came back in July, she did it for a week, and then she was ill again, so I did it then. And I had a bicycle afterwards, they gave me a bike. It was about 13 mile all round, really.
It's a fair old trip, isn't it? And I mean, heavy.
Yeah, it was. It was outlying farms and all that you had to go to, and it was hard work.
Suited with a special coat, or?
Oh, we had the uniform. Yeah, I had the uniform. Big old shoes, heavy old shoes, which I didn't like wearing. But it was all right, yeah. And I enjoyed it afterwards. You did lots of things for people. You're getting pensions and various things, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, the post person is all we can call them, isn't it? The post person was very important. I mean, when we didn't have easy access to transport, it was a far more important job in a way than it is now.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
So sometimes in the outlying farms, it'd be the only person they saw in the
Well,
day.
yeah, you walked through up to your waist in snow sometimes. I mean, you were walking across because there were no proper roads. I mean, the farm, Mrs. Savage up there from Woodhall. I mean, I used to go to Mothall Farm, which actually they should have had their post delivered off the Anscroft Road, really, because there was a drive up to it, but you just went across fields to Mothall Farm. It was terrible, really.
Was it quite unusual for a woman to do the job?
Well, I don't think so, because Agnes had done it for a long time. I mean, she'd done it for many years. And, I mean, when she was ill, she was coming up to 60, and she was ill. And she just didn't turn up this one day, and the postmistress in the village said, I was the only one. I was at home, you see. Then I was looking, because I didn't work. I was looking after the house for my dad. And so that was it. I took over and I did it. I just went and did it that one morning, about 10 o'clock one morning. That was
So you didn't have to get up very early?
I did after, yes. I did get up after, because we had to sort all the mail out, you see. It was in Weir Road, in a little cottage the post office was, and I just used to go up the road and we had to sort it and take it out about 7. Yeah, you had parcels. People had a lot of things delivered from the clubs, so you had, that was quite heavy. But you enjoyed it because you met so many people. It wasn't like the villages today. I mean, you knew everybody in the village, really. So it was quite nice, actually.
Amazing. Thank you for talking to us. Now listen, before we go any further, I'm on my second cup of coffee, which I haven't touched yet. Excuse me, gents, is my coffee there? This is my second cold cup of coffee.
Oh, do you want a fresh one?
No, I'm all right, thanks. No, but I'm definitely going to have a go at this one.
Oh, yeah, well.
They make me work, you see, and I don't get a chance to drink my coffee. It's terrible business. There's no justice in the world. Hang on a sec. Vivian, say something meaningful while I drink my coffee.
Well, I'm just being told that the lady who was the district nurse is over here, so she would be interested. Mrs. Shuker, and of course Shuker's a well-known name.
Shuker, no, that's a great... Where is she? Come on, we're back to Hilda.
Grandchild.
Oh. Oh, no, we're back to the youngest Hanwoodian. Come on, introduce me, Hilda. No, we have spoken briefly, haven't we?
Hello.
Yes,
Much-loved district nurse.
How'd Shuker them?
How many years? Oh, there's about 20 years, yeah. Not always in this area, though. I did an area right out to the Cherbury border, the Montgomery border.
How big was your area, Pat? Let me have a sit down. I'm getting exhausted here. It's a wonderful grandson you've got.
Yes, he's lovely, isn't he? Isn't he beautiful, yes. And he comes, I must mention this again, but this is from the Shuker family, which are the oldest family recorded in Hanwood, apparently. I mean, I'm disturbed that,
my marriage.
You're only a shooker by marriage.
I'm a Mancunian, really. I'm from Manchester.
By ex-civvy. Did you bring your whippets with you?
No, I didn't. But I've got roots in Shropshire. My grandparents were my parents were from Shropshire, but I came and trained at the RSI and married a Shropshire lad.
Oh, that's all right then.
And so went down here now.
So your parents went from Shropshire to Manchester and back again?
My father was a policeman in the Lancashire Constabulary.
But he came from Shropshire?
He came from Shropshire. From
Whereabouts?
Smethcote.
Smethcote?
Yes. Near Picklescote.
Ah, well. Well, what did he think of Manchester after that?
Well, I don't know really, not a lot, I suppose, but he stayed there and lived there until he died, yes. But I came back to train at the Royal Shore.